welcome to, I'm going to say, one of the hottest episodes we've ever recorded. Hot and humid. That is
True story.
so very much true. I've been told in another call earlier today, well, it's the hottest day of the year. And then again, I've been told the same thing yesterday and actually also the day before. So,
Well,
well,
that could be true because it
I
could
was
be
gonna-
getting hotter each day, causing the new hottest day of the year.
that is, thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
here for you, Ben.
I know. But yeah, either way, what I was going with is, damn, it's hot. But since this is a very equal opportunity podcast, despite us all being in three very different places, it's hot and humid for all of us. How cool is that? Thank you,
True story.
global warming, for being so equally brutal, I guess. Anyways, a good minute in.
This is the
Great rabbit.
longest intro rabbit hole ever.
There's
And 15 minutes are up, folks.
Thank you for joining. Oh, we didn't get to talk to you, guest, but there's another rabbit hole. There was this talk show where they kept inviting. Who's the actor from Born? Like Born Identity?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. They kept inviting him, and every single day they were like, "Oh, we totally ran out of time. Can you come back tomorrow?" And at some point, he didn't find it was funny. Anyways, Angela, we do have time for you. We cleared up our entire schedule for the next 13 minutes just for you.
Nice.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the hottest
you.
episode so far, because the next one will be a bit hotter, probably, because I learned from Jess that this is how weather works. But anyways, again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And for those that haven't met you, who are you?
I am Angela Henry, and I live in North Carolina in the United States. If you're not familiar with U.S. geography, that is on the East Coast, about halfway north-south. What else about me? I do data things.
Helpful
I'm a
for
data
this
mover and
podcast.
shaper.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I was worried there for a
Read
second.
the room.
Yes.
Know your audience. We did good, Jess.
Yeah. Started out as a DBA way before Google was a thing. Did that for about 15 years. And then about 15 years ago, I decided I don't want to be a DBA anymore. So I moved over into the business intelligence and kind of, BI visualization world. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Nice.
Very cool.
I've been a
always
DBA at the
wonder
time where I
what I would
still
do.
needed to know the things rather than just Googling them, is what I've heard. But
That's what I was going to say. Like, I always wonder, what would I do without Google? Like, every day it's like, oh, what is that? Just quickly Google it.
I could easily do without Google as long as I got ChatGPT. But anyways, so DBA, now BI.
Mhm.
What's your favorite data thingy? I assume it's more BI-ish, because otherwise you would have gone back to the DBA world. I mean, you know what they say about assumptions, but at this point, I
Yes.
guess.
Yes. Yeah. Power BI is probably my favorite data thing right now. Even though I suck at DAX, I always have, I always will, because, after writing T-SQL for almost 30 years, my brain doesn't work the same way that it needs to work to write DAX. But, there's ChatGPT. So I'm getting better. Yeah. So I'd say Power BI is probably my favorite data thing.
Are you getting better at DAX, or are you getting better at writing prompts?
I'm getting better at writing prompts.
Aha!
Which in turn is actually helping me getting better at DAX, because it makes me really think about what I'm trying to ask, what I want.
Fair.
I always feel too like they'll give you the answer, but there's also some explanation around it. And so you are learning, even though they give you
Yes.
the answer, right? Like, I
Yes.
quite like the bit where you can say, explain this. Like, if you have a line of code that you've no idea what it's doing, just explain this. And it goes through like each bit. Well, this is doing this. This is doing this. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It works really well for PowerShell too, because I know you two are
Mhm.
both whizzes with PowerShell, but I am not. It's helped tremendously on that learning curve as well.
For sure.
So
For sure.
Wouldn't that also be? And honestly, I have no idea, because I'm not a big Power BI person. Isn't that also something where Copilot would be potentially even more helpful because it's integrated? And the answer might as well be no, because the answer might be no, because Copilot doesn't do DAX, idiot. Don't say idiot, please. It would hurt my feelings.
Well, in order to use Copilot with Power BI, you have to have a premium subscription, and I don't.
Okay.
And none of my clients do. So I haven't got to play with that piece.
Gotcha.
The F64 dilemma, as we call it in the Fabric world.
Yes. Yes.
That is a very, very good point. And I mean, I could have thought of that before, because once it
That's
gets
okay.
once it gets overly shiny, it gets overly expensive.
Yes,
Mhm.
it does. It does
That's
indeed.
kind of the nice thing with ChatGPT is there is at least a free level where you can get some interaction.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I got the paid subscription for ChatGPT, which is like $20 a month, which is also not horribly expensive. Well, for one person, it's not. If you need those licenses,
Is it better though? Do you get better answers? Do you get different answers than the free version?
I haven't
You get the
tried
newer
that part. You
models,
get
right?
the newer models. I would say it's probably more accurate, or especially if it's something that, because a lot of the things in ChatGPT, especially like, hey, write me a PowerShell thingy that does this and this. It doesn't matter if the data that it's trained on is 2 years old, because those general concepts and all of that have not changed that much.
Okay.
Whereas if you're like,
That
hey,
makes sense.
help me how to figure out this and this in Fabric, it will probably be that might,
It'll be like
even though the cheap or free model also has been retrained on more. It also has more capabilities. I think you need the paid one, for example, when you want to generate any pictures or images. That may or may not have been moved down to the free tier as well. To be quite honest,
Yeah, I use Bing if I have to create pictures or images, because their free version will let you do that.
yeah.
So,
And I like have everything in one place, and at $20 a month, I just don't even bother about comparing back and forth. I
Yeah, that
kept
makes
using the
sense.
free version until I kept running into limits, which may or may not exist anymore. How smart would that be if they just moved all those limits away and never told me? That's greedy, OpenAI. That is greedy. If you're listening, or if
We'll
you're
never
analyzing
know.
the content of this podcast,
Yes.
Oh dear.
I do not consent to you training your model based on this episode because of your greediness. I think
They probably missed that section out.
I'm pretty sure.
They didn't hear that.
There's that.
Well, Angela, when you're not playing with Power BI and chatting to your GPT friends, what do you like to get up to in your free time? What's your favorite non-data thingy?
Well, I have two. Can I do two?
And
Sure.
the jury is still out on
The
that one.
rules are very loose. As long as you don't just say things, I guess.
No. So one's indoor, one's outdoor. So outdoor
Perfect.
swimming. That's my favorite thing to do. Outside, my Twitter handle when I was on Twitter was SQL Swimmer. Now that I'm over on Mastodon, it's still SQL Swimmer. But indoor, it's quilting. And as you can see, I have a quilt top right behind me, which is going to a friend's granddaughter. Her name is Star. So I made a star pattern out of that. So those are my two favorite things to do.
When you say swimming outside, do you mean like wild swimming or something
Like
specific?
Tarzan wild swimming?
No, like in a river or in like an outside swimming pool or
yeah.
sea?
So typically a swimming pool.
Okay.
So whether that be an indoor or an outdoor pool, I have done open water swims. Not a huge fan. The one that I did in the lake, there were snakes. And the one that I did in the ocean, I swam through a pod of jellyfish. And that was not a pleasant experience. I can't recommend it. So I'll stick to the pool. I like that line on the bottom that tells me where to go and when to turn.
So when you said outdoors, you meant like outside of the house, but
Yes.
indoors in a swimming pool? Okay.
Correct.
I got you.
Correct.
So out indoors.
I was
Yes.
I was confused for a second.
That's why I was thrown off.
However,
Wild swimming has got.
I think it's very good advice not to swing through jellyfish or snakes for that matter. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Well, and in North Carolina, we actually have venomous snakes, so very good idea not to swim in the lakes or the rivers.
Well, also you got some was it some amoeba?
We have
or some-
alligators too.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Swimming pool. Definitely
Yeah,
a
swimming
pool.
pool all the way, every day.
Wowzers.
No, it
Yeah, I was going
was
to say wild swimming is
north of Charlotte. So in North Carolina, there's this whitewater whatever center where they had
Yep,
this
the Whitewater Center.
these amoeba or whatever it was in the water that's actually eating people's brains. So
I've
again,
been there.
me too. I was only running there actually because they had some.
They've got a really big open park all the way around it. They'd actually just opened up a dog park piece of it too. So I've never been there. I heard it's lovely, but
It is.
yeah, if I'm in the water, it's going to be in a pool, not in anything else.
No, it was fun. I was going there for a run with one of my customers from the area, and because he was like, "Well,
Okay.
you're a runner. Let's go there. They do these 5Ks every week." And then I was looking on, and I had no idea what to expect, and I was like, "Okay, interesting." Like the fastest runner there is like 40 minutes. That must be super non-competitive. Well, I had no idea it's like cross country and up and down and all the way. So yeah,
Like
they left
trail
out
running.
this little teeny tiny detail because it was like, oh, I'm gonna crush this. I'm gonna win. I did not win.
Perfect.
Gained a lot of experience points. I'm going to say that's about it.
Smart.
Yeah.
However, no, it was something, and it was also a very warm and humid day. And after that, it was very thirsty and also very hungry. Speaking of very hungry, Angela, what's your favorite food?
Great segue. Crushed.
My favorite food. So there's not like a single food, but there's like a
Is
thing.
it just
a food
food?
thing. It's a food thing. So my favorite food thing is a bacon, cucumber, spinach sandwich. So most people eat bacon, lettuce, tomato. I am allergic to tomatoes, and I'm not a fan of lettuce. So I substitute leaving the bacon because, oh my God, who would get rid of the bacon on a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich? So I use,
True.
well, I know you would, Ben, because you're a vegetarian.
But you can have vegetarian bacon.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
have
but
vegetarian bacon.
bacon is just me.
I would say that sounds kind of disgusting, but that's just
Yeah, it
me
does.
as a meat eater. I think that would be gross because I don't even like turkey bacon. I think that's vile.
Agreed. That is not bacon.
No, it is not. It is not. You can say it's bacon, but it's not.
No.
Yeah, so cucumber, bacon, and spinach sandwich is my favorite thing to eat.
Interesting. I think that would still be considered a food. I think that's okay within the
Okay.
rules. We've had people say things like warm food, which
Yeah.
is very broad.
I mean,
So I think a sandwich is fine.
I was going to say a sandwich is fine. In worst case, we're just going to add either some fries or like a cup of tomato soup to it, and then it's definitely a meal, and we're all good. Plus, if we do this,
Smart.
we're just going to do a grilled cheese sandwich for me as a substitute rather than just coming. And I mean, again, grilled cheese with a nice tomato soup. Come on, what's not to love?
Yeah, but she's allergic to tomatoes.
Yeah. Well, she gets some different kind of soup. Angela, you pick your soup. I mean, always stick with the fries. I'm fine with fries. Also, I totally forgot about that
Safe.
allergy thing because it was at least 2 minutes ago. So I can't remember that
And then we can
forever.
have tomato ketchup with the fries. Oh, wait. Wait, can you not have ketchup either?
No, but I don't like
Oh,
ketchup.
my.
So
Yeah, but if you're allergic, it doesn't matter if
end
you
the
like it.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, for some reason there was
Yeah,
a technical difficulty, and that episode was never recorded. I'm trying to. Did you
Oh,
did you
dear.
put down that you can't have tomato on the allergy list for grilling? I'm pretty sure.
probably not because most of the time I can just pick it out, and it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, so it's okay. So if there's gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always been allergic to them, and as a kid, I used to just kind of get like a rash on my mouth or whatever. And I didn't like the taste of tomatoes. I didn't like the taste of ketchup or anything. But as an adult, about 10 years ago, that allergy really went like crazy, and it's now anaphylaxis with tomatoes.
Wow.
However, if they are cooked, I can still eat a small amount. So like ketchup or on pizza or whatever. And I'll just get the rash like on my face. But if it's raw tomatoes, that's anaphylaxis. So yeah, I get to carry an EpiPen.
How weird that it got like worse over time, because I think a lot of people will grow out of allergies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people also grow, like some allergies develop late and some. I also hear that lots of people grow out. I got a couple of friends that grow, or their kids grow out of. But that takes me back to tomato soup is fine because it's cooked and you can just keep some tomato soup in your face and nobody will see the rash even. I mean,
yeah, as long as I just dip the sandwich in it and don't actually eat the soup itself, I'm okay because that limits the amount of tomato that I'm eating. But
sounds like
there's something about the cooking process that changes the molecular structure. I don't know. My doctor was like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, so no raw tomatoes, cooked tomatoes in limited quantity. Got it. Carry the EpiPen. Got it.
Fair enough.
Perfect. Ready to go.
Yeah.
Famous last words. Carry the EpiPen.
Carry the EpiPen.
And that's a life pro tip from this podcast, folks.
Yes.
We've learned so much about surviving today. That's what I'm trying to say.
We have.
So
don't swim through snakes. Don't swim through jellyfish. Take an EpiPen.
Jellyfish will not kill you unless it's that specific kind. It will just be very unpleasant. That's what I've learned. So,
or you're allergic to them.
Which we probably won't know until it's too late.
Unless you cook them before, probably.
Which is why you carry your EpiPen.
While swimming. While
swimming.
I learned a lot today. Thank you for that.
So glad I could.
Another great episode.
I don't think we've ever had that many survival tips in one single episode. I'm going to say that. So thank you for making us live, not just for another day, but for decades to come, because with all that knowledge, what could possibly go wrong? And with that, Angela, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we see you next week with yet another friend. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye.